I am a Adam Smith laissez-faire capitalist. When it comes to what I want out of my government and out of business, read Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations. Study up on Adam Smith. You'll get what I want. Problem is that, well, the Trump administration has now bought into two companies. They just acquired the 10% stake in Intel, which means that the U.S. taxpayers now have had, I think it was, $11.1 billion spent of their tax dollars to acquire part ownership in a company that was failing. I'm not even sure. Okay, I agree with Trump on what he's doing with tariffs. I have agreed with Trump on several things that he has done. I can't agree with the U.S. government buying part of a company. I really can't. So I'm going to cover this story here. I'm going to go into what exactly went on. But here's my thing. I don't think that our tax dollars should be spent on this. If a company is failing, they're failing because they haven't been able to keep up with the market, and new companies will arise. AMD, which, by the way, as a computer geek, I'm an A plus certified computer technician. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I prefer AMD to Intel. Seems to be that quite a few people prefer AMD to Intel because Intel was going the way of the dodo at this point. Why is our tax dollars going into this? We've got to discuss this. So hit like and subscribe and let's get into this.
Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
So, here's what you've got to know about this. U.S. government holds a stake in Intel, with the company agreeing to sell the government a roughly 10% share of approximately $8.9 billion. Well, they spent 11.1. This passive ownership is funded partly by CHIPS Act grants and other funds and does not involve any board representation or governance rights. Ownership: the U.S. government is acquiring 10%. It's common stock. Investment comes from the government's use of previously awarded but not yet paid grants from the CHIPS and Science Act and funds from the Defense Department program. This is a passive investment. Agreement aims to advance U.S. technology and manufacturing leadership, particularly in the crucial field of semiconductor production. This unusual deal marks a significant direct intervention by the U.S. government into a private company. Not the first time under this administration, sadly. President Trump announced this on Friday. That'd be the 22nd. The United States of America now fully owns and controls 10% of Intel, a great American company that has an even more incredible future, Trump wrote in a post. U.S. government is, okay, all told, the government is getting 433.3 million shares of non-voting stock priced at $20.47 apiece. A discount from Friday's closing price of $24.80. This spread means the U.S. government's already gained $1.9 billion on paper. Hey, it's unrealized gains. The Democrats will be wanting to tax it. Remarkable turn of events makes the U.S. government one of Intel's largest shareholders at a time that the Santa Clara company is in the process of jettisoning more than 20,000 workers as part of the latest attempt to bounce back from years of missteps taken under a variety of CEOs. Intel's current CEO, Lip-Bu Tan, has only been on the job slightly more than 5 months, and earlier this month it looked like he might be on shaky ground already after some lawmakers raised national security concerns about his past investments in Chinese companies while he was a venture capitalist. Trump latched on to those concerns in the August 7th post demanding Tan resign. But Trump backed off after the Malaysian-born Tan professed his allegiance to the U.S. in a public letter to Intel employees and went to the White House to meet with the president, leading to a deal that now has the U.S. government betting that the company is on the comeback trail after losing more than $22 billion since the end of 2023. So they're investing in a company that has been not even steadily $22 billion in a year and a half, almost 2 years. That's a free fall, in my opinion. But I'm a redneck, $22 billion. In a statement, Tan applauded Trump for driving historic investment in a vital industry. There's other companies. AMD has been stepping up and been doing a far better job of this. They're not dominating personal computer boom. I mean, you're talking about the company's market value currently stands at about $108 billion, a fraction of the current chip kingpin Nvidia, which is valued at $4.3 trillion. So you've also got Nvidia that's up there. So why? Why did we need to prop up one company when there are other companies already there? I'm not sure what to think about all this, other than to say, no. I look. I have agreed with Trump on things that I agree with him on. I think he is a far better president than what we've had recently. But when somebody does something that I think is wrong, when in all honesty, I think a lot of people see it as wrong, I am going to call it out. And this is wrong. U.S. government should have no stake in any company whatsoever. And, okay, I just looked this up. Okay, they don't pay. Okay, if they were paying a dividend, okay, fine. No, Intel does not currently pay a dividend. It suspended its dividend payments in the spring of 2023. This is how bad they've been. They had paid it from 1992 until 2023. So this is how far down. When a company stops paying its dividends, which in all honesty, the whole dividend thing is a little shaky anyway, but we're talking about that you bought into a company that the only value you're getting out of it is if the stock rises in value. Intel chips, in my opinion, as a computer geek, I am not an Intel fan. I would prefer to buy AMD. Why? Because AMD is a superior product. But I only deal with personal computers. I don't know what kind of chips are going into defense components. You've got these fancy computer-fied jets flying up there and everything like that. And they've got to have chips. But NVIDIA is supposed to provide pretty good chips. So is AMD. But you tell me, what is your stance on this? This is your tax dollars. What is your stance on your tax dollars going to own 10% of a company that was failing? Seriously. $22 billion lost in 2 years. 1.5 to 2 years. You tell me what is it that you think about this? This is your money. So what do you think? This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.